Welcome to Breaking the Silence. And wow, that was heavy, wasn't it? I've been working all day and I've just sat down, and so I'm just trying to wrap my head around. We're doing a show, and we have Sarah here tonight, and I know you've seen um, her videos, and particularly the one that moves around rather erratically and then stops and then goes again. And that's definitely not one of Elon Musk's satellites. And in fact, there was a video shared by Avon on their group, our group, Cyril, and it showed like it must have been 20, 30 objects that I could have thought were his garbage up there floating around. Uh, I don't have a very good opinion of him. I'm sorry. The SpaceX is a good people, though. But I don't think it was their satellites, and they were way too bright, and there were way too many. And usually, when you do see them, they're somewhat moving together, and these were like crossing north, south, southwest, east, west, and then they were moving at pretty good speeds, and some of them were quite bright. And it was filmed at 3 in the morning, and it was also done with a night camera. So, and thanks to Sarah, and we finally got a good night vision camera. So I'm going to bring Sarah on. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Hi, Steve.
Welcome. Hello.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Sure, absolutely. It's nice to have someone from the community in here,
Oh, absolutely.
and just about all the, dare I say, regulars are in here tonight. Everybody you
Yes.
know, and
Hello,
they
everyone.
know you.
Hi, Mom and
Uh,
Dad.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad are here.
Oh wow! So we haven't had much of an opportunity to go out at night with the camera, unfortunately, because it's been overcast almost every single night.
Oh, me too. Me
And
too, lately.
yeah, quite cold. Um, let's start all the way back with the beginning of your story, if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely. So I was born in Santa Rosa, California. I
Mm,
always felt very different as a child.
hmm.
Just very sensitive, just I kind of knew when people were mad, sad, bad, etc. And from a young age, I was just very fascinated with the stars, the universe, things of that nature. And my dad, I have to thank for, teaching me all about paranormal, extraterrestrials, Bigfoot,
Your
because
dad.
yes, we
That's
would watch.
unusual.
We would watch Unsolved Mysteries. Oh gosh, what are the other shows that were around in the 80s? Unsolved Mysteries. I think Sightings and Beyond Belief as well. And I really was kind of horrified by the abduction stories,
Hmm.
though. I would go to bed. I mean, I just really felt this intense fear. um, I would always sleep with my somebody. I would barely ever sleep alone. So, just because I was very, very terrified to the point of sometimes just being sick, of fear of especially extraterrestrials or I think there's a little paranormal activity in our home, and I was
Hmm.
able to pick that up. There's like a male presence in there. So I was just very, very scared. So when I was about 9 or 10, I was going, my sister, we shared a room, and I was going into the room to go to bed, and I was upset. I had to sleep by myself. I usually started out sleeping by myself, but then would end up in my parents' bed or something like that. But we had in California, we had a two-story house and these two big windows out the window. So I was walking in the room, lights were out, and I looked to the left out the window, and there is a craft right there, and I knew exactly what it was. There was no blinking lights. It was just slowly rotating over my neighbors. my adjacent neighbors or across the street neighbor's house. So I just watched it. It had orange, green, yellow lights, and I thought that was very strange. It's very strange for the craft to have lights like that. Because I wanted to think, okay, is that a helicopter? Is that a plane or anything like that?
Sure.
It didn't have a tail, wings, or anything. I did feel this because before then I was terrified, but then I felt this overwhelming peace. Like I was protected and I was okay. Everything was going to be fine. Um, and I know I told my parents this the next day, and my mom, sorry, mom, she was on the phone, and I was so excited about it. Hey, I saw a UFO! Yay! I was so excited about it. She was on the phone, and when a kid says, "Hey, mom, 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 mom," and she's like, "Stop!" And I was like, I saw a UFO, and I was drawing pictures of it and everything, and they don't remember that.
Did you keep
I
the
Oh,
drawings you did?
no,
That's a
no.
shame.
No, I wish I did, but I remember doodling it, as a child, and,
Mhm.
just I was a very weird child.
Join the club.
Yes,
Many of those
so
shows you mentioned, I worked on.
oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's so amazing.
especially sightings.
Oh, wow. You know what? I think I knew that, some of those. I knew
Yeah,
some
In
that
Search
you
of also with Leonard Nimoy. I worked
Oh,
on that
we
too.
more than likely saw
Yeah,
that. We
yeah.
more than likely saw that. So, yeah, they just kinda ignored me, a little bit about it, and, because 'cause I'm a kid, there's other things going on, and so I just dropped it. I dropped it, and, I buried the experience until, and put it out of my mind and just continued on with life. Eventually, we moved to Illinois, and I'm just going to fast forward to the good stuff. Um, yeah.
That's quite a
Um,
move to Illinois from Santa Rosa.
yeah. Oh, it was. My mom transferred jobs. It was a very big part of our life. This
Mhm.
huge move. So, but I'm very grateful. I will say that. Very grateful for that move. So fast forward to 2020. Well, actually, I'll go back to 2014. I had a massive spiritual awakening brought on by a traumatic event. I was headbutted in the face, like right in the third eye, and it just awakened me. It awakened everything inside me. It turned my life literally upside down. I was an alcoholic, drug addict, I was all these things, and it really changed my life, and I actually saw. Hmm?
So you were head-butted. I mean, somebody hit you in the
Yes,
head?
yes. Yeah, a, toxic relationship. He
Right.
was an ex-boyfriend, yeah, and he, um just hit me right in the face. I didn't even see it coming, feel it coming, anything. But that experience awakened me. Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So during that time between 2014 and 2020, when they came, I was really working on myself, getting sober, doing readings. I became a empath, an intuitive empath, a psychic empath, whatever you want to say. Um, and I was doing readings on people and Reiki, energy healing, and all that good stuff. And I was also healing myself. So, yeah, I was healing myself and, um, just getting through the healing process, getting sober
Mhm.
and all that good stuff. So, I was used to being isolated as well. So I think they kind of used that, because when you have this spiritual awakening, you go through this lonely period of life. Um, just a very lonely period of life where they isolate you so you can differentiate, sorry, I didn't say that right, the energy between your energy and someone else's. So they
Mhm.
really want to seclude you. So, um, so you can be prepared for other things. So in that seclusion, and then guess what happens in 2020 or the end of 2019, I think it was, the C word. That happens. And so we're all isolated and locked down anyway. So in 2020, let's see, I started becoming really obsessed, and that's the word I will actually use, obsessed, and overly fascinated again with abductees, the abduction stories, um, just extraterrestrials. And then I was learning about these species. I never really paid attention to if there were other races besides the Greys,
Hmm.
other ET races or anything like that. But I was learning the drive to learn was ridiculous. All these different stories, or about these blue beings, and not just the Greys, like saw on
Hmm. Yeah, there's more
TV.
to life than the grays.
Yeah, yes.
They
So
probably don't like to think about that, but it's true.
yeah, they probably don't. Yes, you're right. Um, so yeah, I was watching actually a YouTube channel, and I'm not sure what it was, but I was watching it, and like I said, I receive messages, and how I receive messages is through thought and feeling mostly. I've had all the clears, but I mainly just receive them through thought and feeling. So I heard and sensed a message to keep my eyes on the sky. And I was like, oh, well, I do kind of anyway, because I'm just fascinated with the stars, universe, all that good stuff.
Hmm.
So maybe like a week went by after that message, and my youngest daughter, and um, we were taking my dog out, and we go up on the hill behind the house, and I see movement from my right eye, and I look up, and Steve, there's this massive, like, mothership, like, um it's cloaked, of course, but the outline I could see. It was like
Hmm.
plasma, and it's like some of the plasma balls I record in my video, but it was
Right.
in the shape of this humongous starship. It wasn't oval or anything. It was, I don't know if you've ever seen like a Tigetan starship, the huge, massive ones, like I don't want to say Star Trek, but I'm not sure, but it was huge,
I
and it
saw
wasn't.
something recently that was quite large and over our house moving slowly. And
Oh my
through the
gosh. It's
binoculars, I didn't
incredible.
have the camera that you have yet, but through the binoculars, and I have a good set, I could see it was very large. It was humming,
Oh my
and there
gosh.
was a
Yes.
pulsating red light on it, and a ton of little lights, little tiny ones.
It's
And
the
so I
little
don't.
tiny lights. Yeah.
Is that what you saw? Something like that?
Well, it was all the outline. It was the outline of the ship, and it was, I guess, tiny lights. They were kind of transparent, but
Hmm. These were
um
sprinkly, kind of
yeah,
twinkling.
we saw something different, but it's all the
Right.
same, right?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I couldn't make out the shape of it exactly, I
Yeah,
really couldn't.
yeah.
I didn't know if it was square, round, or rectangular. I didn't think it was
Mhm.
round. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, my daughter's name is Caitlin, and I said, "Caitlin, oh my god, do you see that?" And she looks up, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." And as soon as she saw it, it started to disappear. So it was just fading right out.
Mhm.
And I was just like, "Oh, wow." That was fascinating to me. But I didn't really say, "Okay, they're back," or anything. I was just like, "Oh, well, um, I just saw what I think was a big ship or
Yeah.
something." So, I just kinda maybe talked about it, maybe contacted my dad. I'm not sure about it, but I didn't really tell too many people about that incident. So about 2 to 3 weeks later, I'm taking my dog out again, and I'm going out the door of the apartment building, and I leave the door kind of cracked, because I'm just taking my dog out to the front yard, and I look up because I saw movement now on the left of my eye, and there are 5 ships. 5 ships in a, I mean, they were big too, but they were kinda transparent. Have you ever seen a transparent, like, uh, ship or anything like that?
Well, no, I did see something that was like it was cloaked. It was like a heat wave, and
Yes.
then and when it stopped waving, and as it got closer, it was a huge triangle
Oh, that's
with three tiny
I've
lights on it.
actually
But I did see
yeah.
it like morph or become visible. I mean, it almost reminded me of the way the Romulan craft in Star Trek would come out
Yeah,
of
that's pretty
cloaking. There
cool.
was that ripple effect, and I mean,
That
I
is
just
pretty
I was on the
cool,
phone with
yeah.
Whitley at the time, and it just was amazing.
That's
So,
interesting.
and
Very, very cool.
I I recreated that whole moment in my film, but something is there. It's the very end shot in the movie.
I
So
probably saw it then because I
yeah,
watch a lot of
yeah,
your videos.
yeah. You see the guy in the backyard, he's on the phone, and
Mhm. Oh, okay, so that's that recreation.
yeah, that's exactly
I'll
what it
have to
was like.
watch that again because that's so fascinating. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's these 5 ships, they were perfectly spread apart, like, perfectly spaced out, and, I yell at my daughter, and mind you, we're an apartment building, and it's 10 PM, 10:30, 11 at night, and no one else is out there. Nobody. And, so I'm not sure what was taking place with that, but and I was even screaming too. I was like, "Get out here, Caitlin," and, she comes out, she has her phone with her. I don't have my phone. And we were watching these 5 ships just glide across in front of us in the sky, and it was just so amazing. So she gets out her phone and she's like fumbling around with her phone because she's nervous. It's a very exciting thing,
Mhm.
and she didn't hit record. She took a picture, like 2 or 3 pictures, um, and what we saw versus the pictures wasn't what we saw, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
in the
it does.
pictures, it was a huge, orb, and, yeah, so it definitely wasn't the same as we saw, and they do, will appear that way, for some reason. They change, what they look like, I
Sure.
guess.
Well, you can have someone standing right next to you who won't even see it,
Oh, that it's
but 2 other
yes.
people will,
Yes,
so
it's very true. It's very
yeah.
true. And they like to do those little games.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say games, but if you're not
Well,
meant to see them, I guess you're not meant to.
I guess.
So,
I
yeah.
guess. I don't think
Um,
any of us really know for sure, but
no
it is
one
interesting
does.
that
No
people,
one
and then
does.
there's people who will be with you and see it and witness a whole event, and then 2 days later have no memory of it at all, and
Oh,
that's probably the
yes.
most upsetting. So because they're
Oh,
kind of
that
your
would be
proof,
very
and
upsetting. So
yeah, they
I'm
I don't
I'm glad
remember
I
that.
have
And
lots of proof.
yeah, yeah, proof has become less important to me as I've gotten older with this
Oh,
experience. And
yes,
it's just
yeah.
enough to have it and be and have that connection. So
It is. It's very sacred to me,
yeah, it is.
this connection. Um, so anyway, I'll get back to those 5 ships because this is
Sure.
a major, major, point in this, whole thing. So I saw the 5 ships, and I went to bed that night, and I don't know if I was taken that night, my consciousness was taken, but I woke up and I was literally a wreck. I was a wreck. I had readings that day, and I didn't even know if I could go in and do these readings for people. It was just absolutely a wreck because the feeling they gave me, I knew instantly I had received downloads and information that they were my family. And I'm sorry.
Take your time.
I just get really emotional about it.
Well, it's an emotional thing, you know.
Mhm.
That happens to me too.
Mhm. So yeah, it was like a long lost family member came into your life and then left abruptly. So they were telling me, that I was their family, and I literally went into grieving mode. I was just a wreck for a few days after that. So I was a wreck. I was confused. I didn't know what this meant, because I've never heard. I don't think at this time period I ever heard of this type of interaction.
Hmm.
Like they could be my possibly be my family. I've never heard of star seeds or anything
Hmm.
at this point. Maybe I did, but I just didn't pay attention. It wasn't the right time for me to pay attention. So yes, I was confused. I was all of that. So that eventually passes, and I think I told a few people, and even when I went in to do my readings that day, I told the shop owner, and she just kind of looked at me like I was just nuts, like I was absolutely crazy. And I was like, "Oh no, I shouldn't tell people this because it's unbelievable. People don't believe these things, but it was absolutely true." Um, so a few weeks goes by, and I'm asleep one night, and awake to, and I'm in between the stages of sleep and awake. So I could hear, first it was a female extraterrestrial being speaking to me inside my head.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you've ever had telepathic
Oh
messages
yeah,
come to you, or
sure.
yeah, okay.
I mean,
So,
that's how predominantly I get all the messages, especially lately. I've been getting.
oh, that's amazing. Do they say, "Hey, have Sarah on your show"? No, I'm just kidding. Um, I'm just joking. Anyway, first there was a female extraterrestrial being speaking in my head, and I had this knowingness that I was sitting there asking her questions. I was asking her questions, and she was teaching me about humanity and all this. And then I fell back to sleep. I wake up again, and it's a male this time, a male being. I don't know, unfortunately, what they look like. I can just hear the voices. Um, and it was a male this time, but they were teaching me together now. So it was a male and female this, and they were teaching me together. And I knew I had to I was like telling myself, remember this. But unfortunately, I could not remember anything that was said. Um, but I know it's stored in my subconscious for later use. So definitely, I know they were teaching me things about humanity, and things maybe that are coming, and just things, that knowledge that I needed to know at certain periods, going forward. Um, so that was pretty cool, I will say. And at this point, after this, I started having these dreams of being on the actual craft. So in the beginning, the dreams were, oh my gosh, I was completely freaking out. I I was so scared. I'm on this craft, and there's these it's just these there I don't know the lights. It's like you can't see any light source. It's just light.
Yeah,
Like white
it's very common.
LED. Yes, LED light, no
Everybody
light
says that.
source. Really? Well,
you know,
that's great. That's
although
great.
sometimes, I mean, I remember way back in the 90s seeing what looked like in the examination room, as I called it, a dome, and light was coming from that dome over the table. Um,
Oh my goodness.
but other than that, there was light all through. Whether it was a craft or a building I was in, I really couldn't say, but there was light and there was no
That's
light source. And
incredible.
then you'll hear many other people say the same thing.
Well,
Where is
I'm
the light
glad I'm
coming
not
from?
a, I'm glad that's a common theme then.
Yeah, it
Um
is.
but there's, yeah, just this constant consistent light that's and then I'm in this open space, and I, like I said, I'm completely freaking out on this craft. I know my body is on this craft. I'm out of my body. I'm
You're
not in my
out of your
body.
body,
Yes, I'm
but
in
it
the
still feels like you have a
it
body.
still feels like I have a
And see,
body.
that's what people
Yes.
don't get. It's like I'm
Mhm.
physically out of my body, which is not really
Yes.
good English, but then again, that's how it feels.
It
You're out of your
absolutely
body, but you're still
that is
physical.
so good, to that is exactly how I feel. Like, I
Hmm.
feel like I'm in my body, but I know I'm not.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds crazy, but,
Well, it all sounds crazy. I mean, to people
I
who are not
know.
used to this subject matter and have not studied it in any detail other than whatever they
Yes.
heard on the news and the newscaster that was chuckling, they don't know much more. So,
Oh, it's very true. It's very true, and I definitely get some comments, that's for sure, on my videos, but oh well,
well,
you just gotta
sure,
move past because they
sure.
haven't
Well,
experienced it,
no, they
so
haven't experienced it, and they live in a box
yes,
that was constructed around them by our culture and
it's
our education system
absolutely.
and their
So
government
they
and the
mhm,
churches and everything else.
absolutely.
But once you go outside that box, there's no going back.
Oh, there is no going back. I will never go
No,
back.
no.
It's the best feeling in the world.
It's the red
Um,
pill.
oh, yes, it is. So yeah, can't remember. Oh, yes, I was on this ship, and a woman came up to me, and she's actually she's here on Earth, but I saw her on the ship. So, she was actually coming up to me, running up to me, saying, and putting her arms around me, and saying, "You've been here before. Don't you remember? You have been here before." Um, and she was just calming me down, calming my energy down, and then I wake up. Now, I will say later, a few years later, the dynamic of the dreams had
Hmm.
changed. So now I will go on beyond the craft and same light, but I will be actually walking down the corridors, and I saw something in the intro and I said, "Oh my god, that's the corridor." That the light in the
Hmm.
corridor.
Sure.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's it." It's kind of what I see in my just like that in my dreams, but I'm walking with extraterrestrials. Like beings of different shapes and sizes. One has a very elongated head back here. I'm not sure what that is or what kind of species that is, but he almost reminds me of. He's not scary, but that movie Alien. Of course, you know that movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the business I was in, is making
Yes.
creatures like that. So
So
I received it.
without the teeth in that, without the scariness.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what, in a little, less pointy, I guess. But
Hmm.
I was walking with some beings like that and a few grays, and I was just walking and just l- so calm. And so they really changed as I've gone through the years. It's the dynamic has changed. I'm able to be calm and everything else. So very proud of myself for that.
Yeah.
And
The thing about dreams is, and of course, I think Johnny was talking about that,
mhm.
is that, too easily the skeptics just say, well, it's a dream, and a very vivid dream, but a dream nonetheless. But
Mhm.
how many people remember their dreams even 2 days later, let
Oh,
alone
I
years
know.
later? And I remember
Yes.
them going all the way back to high school. Those were not
Oh
dreams
my gosh, yeah.
because they were linear, and I was in
They
another
feel
place,
very real. Yeah.
and some of those included time travel,
Oh, that's
where
incredible.
I went back to my old high school and saw someone there that I knew back then when I was in high school. And when she realized it was me and I was old, she freaked out.
Oh, no. Oh,
She was
no.
just a really terrifying moment for her because she didn't know how to deal with it. And so, I've never forgot it. And so, when you
That's
come to in the morning, you think,
incredible.
was that really a dream? Because
Oh,
it did not feel like it. I even told her who was going to land on the moon, Neil Armstrong, and gave her that information. And
that's
I said,
incredible.
yeah, it's happened to me many times where I've traveled back.
I haven't had any of that. You've had a
Oh, you'll
lot
love it.
more. Oh, I hope I have more of those dreams. I've been
Yeah, but
asking for more of that kind of interaction actually because my
they're
dreams are,
experiencing.
yeah, and I would love that kind, those kinds of dreams, or it's
Sure.
actually astral travel. I would love that kind of communication or interaction. Um, so, and we'll go into 2021 here,
Mhm.
and trust me, we're getting close to more good stuff. But I was at home, and I'm a third shifter, just to put that out there. So I work 3 nights a week, and at this time, I was actually working 4 10-hour shifts, and then every day I had free, I was doing readings at my house and then having people come over for energy healings and things like that. So I was really, really tired this day. It was about 5 p.m. It was very unlike me at the time to take a nap or anything like that. I told my daughter, I said, watch my dog, I'm going to, or watch our dog, and I'm going to lay down. As soon as my head hit the pillow, um, my consciousness was awake. I can see my body laying on the pillow, but my eyes, I mean, my consciousness is staring at this 3.5 foot, 4 foot gray ET. His eyes were big but pointy at the ends there, so they
Yeah,
were
you've
pointier.
seen my work. That's what I also see when I see them.
Really?
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
oh my gosh. That's so validating. That's so validating. But
yeah.
I remember thinking, when I was um, in this state, and I was paralyzed. I forgot to mention, my
Mhm.
body was paralyzed, and I'm kicking and thrashing because your body wants to try to get away from this paralyzed feeling. And my consciousness is saying, "Stop it." So it was like two different things happening simultaneously. My consciousness was staring at this being, and I'm an empath, and I can feel emotions, and this thing had nothing. It was absolutely no kind of emotion whatsoever. Just I don't know if he put a block up, or they're just like worker bees, because I've heard of that. Um, but I never knew at the time that sometimes grays don't have emotion, and I was just like thinking, "Oh my god, I can't feel into his what he's thinking or whatever." And yeah, he just had a block up, or he just was emotionless, and he's just staring at me, and around him was static, like the old television set, when
Sure.
um yeah, you can't, or it's on a bad channel or channel that doesn't come in and it's really staticky. That was around him, and then he was like holographic. So I'm paralyzed. I'm trying to get out of this. And I finally break free out of it. And to me, that was only about 10, 20, 15, 20 seconds. I run into my daughter's room and I said, "How long was I asleep for?" And she said, "About 45 minutes to an hour." And
Hmm.
I'm like, "Oh, wow." Um, that I mean, I was like, maybe I was, being worked on, it was some kind of activation because I was really struggling mentally at this time as well because going through, an awakening is a very hard process. It's very hard. I was tired. Just my mindset was just, lacking, I guess. It was in a dark place. Um, so anyway, yeah, like I said, I was going through a rough time in the spiritual awakening journey, and I would just, so I started asking them, just take me, from here. After all these experiences, I knew something was happening, and I knew I still had this feeling that, these are my family members, and I just want to go with them. Just take me from here, you know. Just because I was just in a very bad headspace. I felt alone, that kind of feeling. No one misunderstood, no one understood me, just very heartbroken, And so it was around this time that I was in this dark headspace that they stopped coming. The dreams stopped, everything stopped. And I was very, very sad about it. Very sad about because it's so loving, so peaceful um, to have these interactions with them. And when something like that just abruptly stops, and you look for this to make you happy, you look forward to the visits and
Hmm.
the dreams and everything, and it just abruptly stops like that. I It was heartbreaking.
Um,
And mhm,
did you, when it all stopped like that and you had that big gap,
mhm.
it gave you a lot of time to think about what
Oh
happened
my
to
g
you and
yes.
whether or not it was real or not. And
Mhm.
I found that when that happens, and it's happened to me more than once, that you realize that if you're going to be fantasy prone and making up fantasies about this stuff
Yep.
and obsessed with it, it's going to stick with you all the time. Um, I get the feeling that sometimes they cut off like that just so
Yep.
you can be with yourself and really think about what you just experienced it, because it
Yes.
actually validates it that much more. And when you come to that realization, they come back.
It was exactly what that was. That's exactly what they're doing, and, so I started to get the knowing, and they were sending me this knowing, but I didn't know at the time. I thought, "Oh, they're just gone and they left me here," Um, but looking back, I said, "I know what they're doing." They wanted me to really ground my energy to this planet because it was so I was reliant on them for happiness. I started to become reliant on them for comfort, and I had to really just be in the present. I had to start living in the present, start interacting with people around me, and they really so this is amazing, this gap period of time, because I started to really hone in on the healing of myself, healing of others, and I got my dream job, which was I was already a registered sleep technologist, but then I got awesome. Someone gave you a super chat. I know what that sound is.
And yeah, thank you. I mean, twice.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I was really helping others, and I finally got my dream job. I've wanted to travel so long, and so I became this a travel sleep technologist. So I was just really thriving, in my life, and I was so happy, but I would still think, okay, where are you? Are you, I'm still not seeing you. And I wonder if they're ever going to come back. That was my wondering. So I will say that one time during this year and a half that they were gone, I was walking my dog, and I was walking my dog, and it was about 4 a.m. because if I went to bed early, I would be awake early. So I was walking my dog and nobody outside at this time. And I was walking, I said, we're going to go past this cemetery down the way here. And as I was approaching the cemetery, all of a sudden I see this huge flash in the sky. And I didn't know, I've never seen that kind before at this point.
Big
And
flash.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I
So
have.
yeah, now I see him all the time, but at this point, I've never seen that ever. I've never heard of anybody seeing those kinds, anything like that. So, I mean, and this thing, it was huge. It was a huge
Oh, yeah.
flash. So, and all of a sudden, I got this warning, like, turn around, don't go that way. So, I I instantly turn around, and I was just wondering, I'm like, "What was that? Was that them?" I just didn't know because I didn't see the craft behind it or anything. It was just a big flash, like someone took a picture of me and right in the middle of the sky,
Mhm.
and yeah, and then gave me that warning, like, "Hey, do not go next to that cemetery," because maybe something was happening or um, something like that. But yeah, that was a little kind of interaction. I didn't know it at the time that was them, though. I just was like, maybe it's them. I don't know. Between this year and a half, so yeah. So at the beginning of 2023, so we're in this, year and a half. I'm wondering if they're ever gonna come back, and, keep looking outside and nothing, 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 nothing. So, um, I just kind of move on with my life. I move on with my life and continue on. And then at the beginning of 2023, I'm in Minnesota on one of my job assignments, and it's the dead of winter.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Thank you, Ann.
This
Thank
is
you,
good for
Lynn.
you. But it's the dead of winter, so it's -20 out, not my kind of thing, but I
Yeah,
was there
I can
up there.
imagine.
Yeah, it was very cold. So I was up there working, and I'm way up north. So I'm kind of at the outskirts of the town that I'm in. It's a small
Mhm.
town, and I mean, it's like walking out and the stars and the constellations are right in your face. It was absolutely beautiful. And I was there by myself. I was away from my daughters and family, so it was, and my dog. And so it was a very hard time during that time. But anyway, I was in my bed. It's about 3 a.m. And I always sleep with like the um, window blinds open or them open just a little. You know how the cracks in the blinds.
Mhm.
Um, so I had that open, and because I would shut the lights off and I would just stare outside at this beautiful masterpiece, of stars. And I would just stare and I would just talk to them like, um, are you here? And I would say that kind of stuff. And one night, I was had the blinds open, and I was actually watching a YouTube channel about another guy who sees and experiences, and I was actually commenting. I had just commented like, "Hey, I used to see them," or whatever else, um, and just commenting on his channel, and I shut my iPad and put it away, and was just about to close my eyes, and I saw this huge lightning flash, like that ricocheted off the house,
Hmm.
and mind you, I'm in the middle of like you can't see lights. You can't see like headlights from the highway or anything like that, and it was -20 clear out, so there's no reason there should have been a flash like that.
What color was it?
So it was just white. It was
Just
like a
one.
lightning
Yeah.
flash.
Uh-huh.
So it was so quick, but I caught it. And I opened my eyes again because I was just about to shut them when it happened. And I opened my eyes and I'm like, oh, what was that, you know? And I just probably seen things, and so I go to shut him again, and that's when I saw a plasma. Have you ever seen the plasma balls? Like just like the ones I record
Sure.
that fly
A
around.
big orange one, real close with
Oh,
my grandfather. Yeah. It's also
oh,
in the movie,
that's
but something is there.
I actually saw
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. Amazing animation. I love it, by the
Thank
way.
you.
Yes. And so this orb is in the sky and it's got this wispy tail. And it was really quick. It did it really quick. And I was like, oh my goodness, I wonder if that's them or not. So I just kind of waited about 10 minutes to see if anything else was going to happen or anything like that. And nothing else did. So I went to sleep. Um, about 3 days later, um, I was I had just gotten done with 3 nights of work, and I woken up again at 3 a.m., got on my iPad and all that stuff, and and just about to go to sleep again, and I see a huge flash out the window. And this time my blinds are all the way pulled up because that's how I feel more connected with the sky that way.
Hmm.
Um, and then that way with the blinds open and everything, it scares some people, but I love it. Because I can see right
Good, good.
outside. Yeah. And so I see this big flash and I hopped up because it was like the one I saw by the cemetery. So I see this big flash and I I instantly knew it was them. They were back. And I said, "Okay, if that's you, do it again." And they did it again a second time, and I was like, "Do it again." I was so excited, and they did it again, and this time they showed the actual craft behind it. And
Hmm.
I was so happy. I started texting my daughter. It's like, "Oh my god, they're back," my I was texting my oldest daughter because she was 3rd shift at the time, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're back." Um, very excited. So, the activity really ramped up every day since then, in Minnesota. It was absolutely phenomenal. Um, I felt so connected and I felt the experience was so sacred. Every time I reached for that phone to record, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I don't know if they were saying, like, "No, it's not the time maybe to record." But I really felt like, um, this was just such a personal experience, and I wanted to embrace all of it. So, yeah, every time I would look out the window, they would be there. Every time I'd walk out, they would be there. And I had some really interesting things happen in Minnesota. One night, I'm out there and I have hand warmers. I'm all geared up because, like I said, it's very cold.
Hmm.
And I said, "Can you please come closer? You know, I would like to see you." Um, and um, all of a sudden, I hear this rustling, and there was like a little patch of trees, not a lot. Um, and I hear this rustling in there, and it keeps rustling, and it's coming closer. And then here is all of a sudden this big owl with a wingspan. This wingspan had to be like 10 feet. It was humongous.
Wow.
It was huge. So I knew that was then. I knew that Al was then coming down and showing me, we're right here with you. Um, and during in Minnesota, also, I was just seeing little flashes, like little, I don't know, this sounds weird, but it looked like maybe little fairies jumping around, and they weren't lightning bugs. They weren't anything like that. There's no kind of bug out there in -20 degree, or else I would have maybe thought it was something like that. But
Yeah.
um,
They're
yeah.
cold-blooded anyway, so they have no heat signature.
Oh,
Bugs.
yeah.
They don't
Okay.
regenerate heat, so, you know.
So, yeah, no, it was just crazy. It was just a lot of action in Minnesota. So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make it short. I'm trying to shorten this, and get to my actual videos. But so another important part I wanted um, to say in Minnesota is they showed me that they were showing me and communicating with me so much during this time, and they told me I was from Lyra. That, and I actually had a past life regression too. But they told me I was actually from um, Vega, the star or the Lyran star system,
Sure.
and that I was a Lyran being. And I know this sounds crazy because it sounds crazy to me. But that you know, I was part of that family, mixed with Pleiadian. So, and like I said, I before this, I just didn't even know anything about another other species and all
Right.
that.
Did they tell
Um,
you you agreed to do this, to come here?
yes,
Let me see. I
yes.
get that many of us,
Hmm.
myself included, had been told that.
In my past life regression, yes, I didn't want to come here. Oh, I threw a fit. I was
Me
throwing a
neither.
fit. I was crying. It was a mess. I was stomping my feet, you know. I was just, no, I don't want to come here. And they needed volunteers. So,
Yeah, I've heard
um,
this time and time again.
yeah, they needed volunteers. And I had finally gave in toward the end of my the past life regression. And I said, I know why now. I know why. I understand why they want me to be there. It's to bring light and love and this information out to this planet. We're going through such a rough time. Um, you know, we're going through an awakening. It's just like a way shower, a light worker. You know, showing people that there is more than just this planet. There's so many other there's billions of planets out there with life on them. Do you believe that there's billions or millions?
Say again?
Do you believe that there's billions of other planets out there with
Well, there has
life?
to be. I mean,
Yes.
plenty
Okay.
of people disagree with me, but this is just one universe. There are
This is
many,
just
many
one.
more, and
Yes, there are many
there's
more.
there are beings that are so far evolved that they're probably not even physical anymore.
Oh,
Um,
no, that's very true.
yeah,
That
so
is
it's
that is
there's
true.
yes,
Yeah.
it's teeming with life. That's why the universe was created.
Absolutely. Yeah, so and I'll tell you about one other dream, and then we can get to, you know, the video and the
Okay.
videos and stuff. And so this is another major dream that happened in Minnesota. I In this dream, I was presented. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Galactic Federation of Light.
I've heard other people talk about it.
So I didn't really even know what it was at the time. I mean, maybe I've heard it in passing, or reading, but I didn't really focus on it. So in this dream, I was being presented with a shield. It was a actual shield, and they were handing it to me, and it was like, you are a part of this galactic federation. They were asking me, do you want to be an ambassador on Earth? So they were asking my permission if I wanted to be an ambassador for the Galactic Federation of Light. And on the shield, it said the Galactic Federation. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's very true. And I woke up and I said, yes, yes, I do. I do want to be an ambassador. And I asked them to show me a sign that this dream was real. And that night, they showed me, um, they brought in a gentleman. I was working, and he, I had to actually come to work early that night to do like a home study. And I come in and to work, and he comes and gets the home study, and he's got a Roswell shirt on, a big ET face. And I said, "Oh my gosh, are you an experiencer?" And he said, "No, but I want to be. And my wife just got a UFO tattoo today." And so I was like, wow. So I took that as a huge sign, and we sat and talked for about an hour about my experiences and, of course, the Galactic Federation and all that good stuff. So, yeah, it's been an amazing, amazing ride. Lots and lots of experiences, lots of little synchronicities,
Hmm.
little moments everywhere. Um, so I went to South Dakota, and couldn't. They already told me, "Hey, you're not going to see us a lot there. It's very populated. This is a very much a time um, that you'll see us every once in a while, sure, but we're going to be here with you the rest of your life." And they did tell me that
Hmm. Hmm.
I would be here, or they would be in my life the rest of my life now. So, and they weren't leaving. Um, but I was taking pictures there in South Dakota because I got this intense urge, because every time I would go outside, I would see nothing. And it was just like they said, you're not going to see us a lot. Um, and I was taking pictures in this cloud formation. I don't know if you've ever seen cloud formations that are, um, you know, uh, in the shape of a sign or something that maybe they communicated to you through the cloud. But it
Hmm.
was this big ET head, and I still have the pictures.
Wow.
Um, so I took about 4 pictures of this big ET head, and in one of the pictures is a spear. And so that's pretty cool. So they were there. And in South Dakota is when I got the idea to start filming. And I was doing it amateurly, like just with cell phone. And I finally was starting to come out with all my experience, with some of my experiences on social media. And I was getting pretty good feedback, but I wanted better recordings.
Hmm.
So when I moved to Missouri, that's when they were just here all the time in Missouri. And I had asked permission to film. And if they wanted, I just had this intense urge, like they were telling me, it's time to get busy. The communication is starting. You're ready. You're ready to get this information out there. You're ready to be on podcasts. You're ready for all of it. And so I said, okay, show me the camera. And I'm sure anyone who is watching, a lot of you who's watching, know who Chris Bledsoe, I
We've
think
heard the
his
name.
yes, yes. So they showed me him because I had no idea who he was still at in the beginning of 2023. And they showed me him because he was using a camera. It was a night vision color camera. And I got the message, this is the camera. You need to buy this camera. And I went and on the website and uh, got the newest version. And then ever since then, they've been giving me all these amazing orbs, just amazing visitations. Um, yeah, so the communication has really, really ramped up. And I don't know if you've seen my latest YouTube video
Not the very
with,
recent ones. I
yeah.
plan to though,
Oh,
definitely.
that's okay.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it's hard to keep up
s-
with everything, but
oh,
yeah.
it is. It is. I know. Um, but I started putting, thanks to my dear friend Emma. Hello, Emma. She's probably watching. And my daughter told me to start putting these on TikTok. And I said, "Oh no, I'm not going to be on TikTok." And they're like, "No, just do it." So I started to put them on TikTok, and a few of my videos got over 100, ones at 140 views, 140,000, just 10,000 likes. I just can't believe it. That
Yeah,
just I just really think we're just in this time period. It shows me that people want to know this information, that they're ready for this information, and they're ready to see in themselves as well.
sure. They're
So,
ready to be in a world where it's just not all about human beings and
yeah.
churches and governments and
No, the
BS.
world, all
The-
that
the-
is
the-
collapsing. Yes.
beyond the sphere of our atmosphere out there is a whole entirely different world.
Yes.
And people say, well, how does that affect me? How does that affect my life? My God, man, you're connected to it, and you cut yourself off from it,
You cut yourself off.
and you
Yeah, and
listen to
that's why
those.
they struggle. That's
Yeah,
why
well,
they
they
have the
start at you the
struggles.
minute you go to school and you watch television.
Oh,
That's
it's
where it
true.
begins.
Well, I
And by
took
the
my
time they're
girls
done
out
with
of
you,
public school.
you got that blue pill
Mhm.
happening, and you're rushing to work, and you're stressed out, and you're trying to pay your bills, and
You're
yeah, now
distracted.
you can't even look into things like this. At least you think you can't,
Yes. But
but you
once you
can't.
start asking, and I tell people this all the time, you go outside, and have an open heart, have gratitude, and ask them, I believe in you. I believe in you. Show me you're real. They hopefully they will start to show others. It's happening all over.
It is.
Um So it's just not me, it's other people, having these experiences and videotaping. Um, we get different things, which is very nice because I don't wanna be the same as everyone else. So they know that, so, they definitely give me different footage. So
So,
so yeah.
so you're gonna be out there. You're gonna keep going out every chance you get,
Oh,
and
oh,
see what you get
absolutely.
and share it with us. Yeah, well, I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
I remember when Mary showed me that first video, and I was watching it. And I know a lot about aviation. I mean, I'm a
Yes.
pilot and aviator, and I live and sleep and breathe aerospace and airplanes, and I know all kinds of pilots, and I hang out with those people. So when I see something like what I saw there, and I saw one guy say, "Oh, it's acts like a bug. Maybe it's a bug," and it's like,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
no, not on the night vision camera, which looks
No.
for heat
I
signatures,
I just
and they
don't
don't.
think people realize it's night vision, and I
Yeah,
tried to say, "Hey, it's a color night vision, there's no way." Yeah, that's not a bug.
no, it's not a bug, and it was actually, from what I could tell, it was a good distance away too,
Yes,
because
it was. It
you
was
got the
high
vehicle
up
behind
there.
the
Yeah.
tree, so that would have been
Mhm.
one hell of a big bug.
Yes.
I would not
Sometimes
want
it
to
just
ever meet a bug
people's
that big.
or they say it's a drone, I'll get that,
No,
and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh."
no, no, because the drone was it was too far away
Mhm.
based on the foliage I saw, the trees,
Yep.
outlines, and everything. It would have been very far away, and that would to be that bright, to be able to show up, to give off uh, a signature like that, it would have had to be pushing its batteries a great deal. Now
Oh,
I
absolutely.
fly
Yeah.
radio controlled aircraft, and I know all about drones and RC helicopters and RC airplanes and stuff, and they have severe limitations that would not have allowed for that very easily to happen. So
Well, I'm just glad I have the support. A lot of people I'm just glad I have the support from someone
you do.
like you and Mary. So I just want to thank you for the amazing platform that you have here for
Oh,
us
you're welcome.
experiencers to be able to actually speak in safe places and not feel ridiculed, because I know you've had your experience, your own many experiences,
Yeah.
which I think is just fascinating, and I wish I had those. I just don't remember, I don't remember those kinds.
Yeah, seeing them physically wide awake standing in front of you really
Oh,
is a rush.
oh, I bet it would be, and
Yeah,
I've asked
no.
for that, and I think they're saying you're not ready yet
Huh.
for
Well,
the
you
the
certainly were
the
ready to
end.
come on our show,
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank
and
you.
we
I
appreciate it so
prepared.
much. We'll have you
I
back in the future, and
Oh,
when
absolutely.
we do, what I'd like to do, since people pretty much know your story, is to share some of the videos
Oh, yes, because
on
they're
here
just
while
getting
we're
better
talking
and
about them.
better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that would be
but
great.
before we go, can you tell people where to find your videos
Oh,
um,
yes. So
on your YouTube?
mhm. YouTube, it's Our Guided Path,
All right,
888.
say that
Um,
again because the bell went off. Thank you, Judy.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, say it
It's
again.
Our Guided Path,
Our
OUR
guided path.
Guided Path. Yep, 888 on YouTube, and, I post kinda less there, it's still very good, but you can also go to my TikTok, which is Our Guided Path, as well, and, that has tons and tons of videos that I take, I have tons
Yeah.
of footage. Yeah, so
Write that
really
down,
good
people, because you want to see
yeah.
these videos. They're very,
Oh, thank you.
when you see the movement that these objects make, it's not just a steady object moving across the
No.
sky.
These
You
are
get to see,
orbs, they go
yeah,
crazy
they're very
sometimes, and
impressive. Yeah.
yep. Mhm. So,
Okay.
yes, thank you
Well,
so
thank
much.
you, and thank you everyone here tonight for
Thank you
your support,
everyone for
love.
watching.
Yeah, and we'll see you again real soon. I promise.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye bye.